Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video. Happy Trading Tuesday. So at the beginning of the week, what I like to do is update this. I manually created this table to kind of show me what's happening with the Fundys score, the latest COT, and the quadrant positioning. I'll update this at the beginning of the week because I know none of these things will change throughout the week. The only thing that will change will be the Fundys scoring because it's updated hourly off of the events. So for example, CAD just had their CPI today, so this 8 is probably going to change. Taking a look at our quadrant, this is what it's actually showing right now. Our COT, we have that all updated and stuff, so I've put down every single thing on the chart right here. I wrote down every description on these positions on net long. This is what the institutions have done. This is what the hedge funds have done, etc. But one flag that I'm putting for this week is the US dollar. And why is that? The COTs are reported on the Tuesdays, right? And last week we had two major events. We had CPI and we also had NFP. NFP was on the Wednesday and the CPI was on the Friday. Meaning that whatever the COT gave on the Tuesday and was reported on Friday, these numbers were not taking into account the COT and the CPI. So the more accurate one they were going to be getting is the one for the end of the week. So this one I'm not really paying much attention to be honest with you. The Fundys score is showing a little bit of weakness on the side of the US dollar. The two pairs showing no weakness that I'm looking at for the week are the Euro, which is net long positions, shorts decreased, open interest is up, and it's on the top right of the real trend, as well as the Canadian dollar, which has longs up, shorts down, OI up, top right real trend. I did say a little bit of warning for the Australian dollar last week. It was positive for the whole time. In the last video, I said that for this to start getting a little bit of weakness, maybe this 19 score is going to drop, maybe the net long positions start dropping, and long positions have been negative for the last COT. And it's at the top left, so false longs may have been possible last week. So our eyes are going to be on that, or Euro AUD rises. Again, I did say GBP weakness. What are we looking at? We're looking at potential longs from down here for GBP. For the Euro, we are looking at longs from this region or down below. So on the higher time frame, this is an hourly fair value gap, which we could see a little bit of a bounce from. And it's the one that makes the most sense with the fundamentals. Our legend himself here, Erwin, I did say that, again, it could short, but intraday, we could see a little bit of a long bounce up before we get a reaction from here. Or down below at 70 big figure. And the strongest intraday currency as of right now is the New Zealand dollar. It's in a little bit of a range. We don't like trading ranges, so that's why I have the alert down here. Newswise for the Canadian dollar, they just had their CPI like I mentioned a little bit earlier, and it's probably going to be a little bit worse for the dollar. Let's see how that would update on our actual Fundys chart. Again, this is what you guys would have access to if you were Forexfundys members. So we were sitting at a 8 before. It's probably going to go down after the CPI stuff. Once again, this updates every hour. Okay, we've experienced a little bit of a move here, and going on to financial juices, it's very important to have this website up because it keeps you informed on what geopolitics might be impacting markets. Because Forex Factory or FX Street doesn't always have every single news event, whereas Financial Juice does have the news events, but it also keeps you informed on what's happening geopolitically, which impacts markets. So for example, they just talked about potentially Iran and the US reaching an understanding, which is going to be a little bit worse for the US dollar. And why is that? Because usually when there is conflict, people put money into the US dollar or other safe havens. But whenever you hear something like this war has been solved, money rushes out of the US dollar. Just a little bit of context. I filmed this on Tuesday and it is currently Thursday when I'm actually editing this. There has been a little bit more escalations with USA and Iran, so whatever happened on this day was relevant for that actual day. So in our chart, you're going to see that spike right here within those minutes, right? But that would be absolutely perfect because you know I like the fake moves, and I believe that this is going to be the false move that swept. So on AUD, I'm putting the alert right down here. On the Euro, it's probably going to be the same thing, but we still haven't got to our high time frame region. And GBP, what are you saying? GBP is just very weak right now. Okay, so CAD did update and it is now at a 0. So the CPI did make it a little bit worse for the Canadian dollar. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to update all the CAD ones. I want to be a little bit deeper I do like this as the false move up, the Iran US news. Technically you'd have to break, but I feel like this is just a little bit too big of something to break before we retrace and then pop up. Some pros and cons I have for this trade as well, for the euro trade, is it's coming down very corrective from here, kind of like a parachute, right? Which is the price action we want to see when we're looking to long. And from last week's video on the GBPUSD short that I took, I did say that the euro over here had stacked highs that I wanted to see taken before looking for the potential shorts. So this could be a good final target if you're looking to take this long, this long up for a very high RR trade. I'm just looking for the little RR and just rolling if I can. That's even if we long from there. Because the con of this trade is that this did not make a new high, meaning that this could be a weak low. Okay, so we've just got the alert on NZD sweeping. Typically when we have the alert on all the currencies that I'm looking at, that's when the move happens. We're just going to wait and see. Does anything look clean? Not really. GBP is close to sweeping after sweeping this low. This is where I actually have my alert set. And Euro is kind of close to its area as well. We're just going to wait and see. And once again, price does not have to move today. Like I said, today is Tuesday, but it's kind of like a Monday. You can treat this as the false move up. And I did say that this looked really nasty. See, so she's moving down. Most things are probably going to be moving down. We'll see probably gold as well with the Iran stuff. We haven't got to our area really. However, we swept this low. So this was kind of the false move up. Maybe if we break above here, price could be interesting. Let's just play around with an RR tool to see if it's even worth taking, assuming we get the break. We're always going to cover the low by a pip. So we're going to be targeting this high here. The lowest we can enter is right here, assuming that even breaks. And again, it would have to be a hard break, nice fair value gap, look good on the M15 because it's not that clean right now. Well, it's not in the area that I wanted to either. We had this little bit of a push up on the Australian dollar, which didn't really amount to anything. So this being reswept and then a break, a convincing break, would be nice because we've created now exact equal highs right here. This is definitely not a final target because we have way more ways to go, but it's a nice zone of liquidity that's been created to bring price up before it probably falls down in the higher time frame. Okay, and the euro here, this is why you wait. Imagine you just blandly took this without even waiting on a break of structure, dead. Okay, so Irwin might be getting a little bit of a reaction over here. Let's see how the fair value gap forms, how things close before jumping in. It looks like we have equal highs right here as well. Would be lovely if this is a target. Okay, we've just got the alert that the euro is in our zone that I talked about. Beautiful. So, what I would like to see is a break off of this wick here on the M3. Hard break. And what would be nice about this is that it's going to be a little bit higher RR and the trade doesn't have to move as high to go to our 2%, for example. It all depends on the break. Our previously weekly low is this blue line right here, which I update automatically for myself again every single week. Maybe we take that and then pop up around goaded times. It's currently 10:55. Goaded time just ended, and this is what we're looking at on the euro. I'm not gonna be taking this because I wanted the break of this, right? Technically, false move, sweep, break. You'd need the fair value gap to form, then you'd have to wait on the entry. I just don't trust a small break like this, which is why I wanted this break. We're looking at NZD and AUD. Fair value gap's not good enough, so it's going to be a nothing day today, which I'm fine with. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a forward test on this upon the 11 o'clock closure, which is now, and see what would have happened. I'm not going to trade this. My trading time is done. We're out of session, but just a little forward test. This, once again, I didn't like where it broke, which was this tiny little one. I would have preferred this. Okay, now, so being completely honest with everyone here, I have my 2% RR rule. I didn't actually take this trade. This was a forward test because I already gave my reasons. It was a little bit late in the session, like a little bit later than I'm used to, and I wasn't a fan of this small break right here. But here's my 2% rule. I will roll stop no matter what at 2% just to make sure that that is banked. There's been plenty of times when I was a younger trader where price would make it to 2% or kind of close around that range, and then price would actually reverse and take you out on a break even or loss. The amount of times that happened was an immense amount. Think about how much profit you would have actually made in your account, on your challenges, on your fundeds, if you just rolled your stop loss and took your profits. So the 2% zone would probably be right around here. Yeah, see? And that would have been rolled out. But if you are curious into seeing how far that this would go, and you don't care about the 2% rule that I came up with, well, then you'd probably be targeting somewhere up here for a 1 to 6. So I'm going to stay on just to see, out of curiosity, curious George, how far this could go. Once again, these are just my personal rules. I'm not telling you guys what to do, just my personal rule set. And if you are a trader who prefers a lower win rate, but you're completely okay with that on the psychological side of things because of these high RR moves, then this is probably very helpful for you. Like I said, on the euro, okay, the Fundys score was a little bit okay, but US Fundys score, bad. Net long on the COT, top right on the quadrant. So I did say euro was the pair to watch for the week. Again, I did not take this, but this is a brilliant example, especially given on the technical side of things, we swept the previous weekly low. We had a few false moves up within this range, and we're reacting from this zone right here. Oh, so I just found another reason as to why this may not have actually been the best trade. Look at the exact equals that we just made here. I did not take account to this, so this isn't even a trade that I journal for saying, oh, I didn't take this because it wasn't my rules. This is a trade that literally made more equals, had a small break, happen after hours, but it is showing you what is possible once you combine the fundamentals with the technicals. We take a look at the other currencies based off of the analysis. AUD swept the equal highs, like I said. Is it going for the other ones? I don't know. NZD reacted from this zone. Nothing clean though, and GBP just missed the area that we talked about, this area here. Just shows the importance of knowing where you are in the higher time frame, like where you're entering and stuff, what structures you need to break, and using these tools that we have here to give you a directional bias. Back from a little lunch break, this floor test is still going. If you were in this trade, I think it would be smart if you were looking at the M5 to at least roll your stop to 2.6%. The trade made it to over 4% at its peak, about 4.3, almost 4.4%, which is a sick trade. Again, I had all my reasons to not taking this. That would have been rolled out at 2%, which I'm completely fine with. I saw a lot of negatives, but high time frame wise, this was beautiful. If you're someone who doesn't really have a time frame and someone who doesn't really have a time limit, like the 11 o'clock one that I place on myself, you're good at trading at any time. You're fine with trading with the equal lows here because you might see them as rejection instead of liquidity being added. Market executing right at 11 when this forward test happened, then that's a solid trade for you. All right, like I said, if you were in this trade, honestly, I would close out because you're so close. It's 5.25%. Just close out, don't be greedy. Again, I had my reasons for not getting in, but that's completely fine. But it's just showing how important it is to do analysis off of the high time frames. And for example, this wasn't just accurate on EU, which I said price could launch from this region, but if we're looking at GBPUSD, we're just shy about the region that we mentioned that could come up from. NZD from area 1 over here, and AUD from area which I listed last week, but it was accurate today as well. I hope once again that you were able to learn kind of what I'm looking for when I'm trading and how I incorporate the tools from the fundamental side of things within my daily bias. To learn more about getting access to the tools, click on the link in the description, Forexfundys.com, and check out if it's even worth it for you. Thank you all for watching, and peace.